And then after that experience, though, we all went into my womb, and there was this waterfall. And behind the waterfall was this gate, and there was like a keyhole. One of the mermaids came to me and gave me the key, and when I opened the door, I saw these glowing orbs, and the orbs were voices, like our voices that had been stolen or locked away and suppressed. It was really important for me to come and ground because I was getting like, carried away. I was like really ungrounded and like just woo. So it was good to come to Kenya and have such a physical experience about the body.
Good afternoon, good evening, dear viewers and listeners. Welcome back to yet another episode of Beauty Lies Beyond podcast with me, Miriam Rose. I'm joined today in studio by yet another amazing lady from New Jersey, all the way from New Jersey. I'm so excited. So welcome, Asha. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. So my name is Asha. I'm from Jersey. I'm 26.
Jersey, not New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Okay.
Jersey.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I never really know how to speak about myself, like who am I, but I'm just here, a human, living life, It's good.
Yeah. So we connected through, I think, my group, Otherworldly, on WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. How did you even chance up in the group?
How did I get in there? I think I was in the Conscious Kenya community, and then I saw some people talking about aliens, and I'm like, oh, yeah, let me go in there. So, yeah.
Actually, yes, we had a session about aliens because we had an episode about a pal of mine who can see... not have visions, he can actually see aliens. Yeah. So that's how we met. Yeah. And we were talking about entities, and it was interesting that you can see them. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is, can you tell us a bit about your background, like your life, how you grew up?
Yeah.
And how you ended up being able to see entities?
So grew up in Jersey. It's a very... suburban area, very diverse area. So I also grew up Christian. That was a big part of my upbringing. So unlearning that or just finding my own pathway through that experience was a big part of my journey. I always did sports, gymnastics, track, basketball, all these things. And it was around my senior year in high school when I was applying for college applications that I started to have an existential crisis. And it was because the interview application always says, like, who am I? Who is Asha Dwyer? And I just remember filling out the form like, Asha Dwyer, student athlete, Christian, Black. Like, it just was like, is this it? Like, I don't know. Something about it just wasn't feeling whole or encompassing of who I was. And so then I just got really deep into, like, who am I? Who am I? And it plagued me for a very long time. Mm-hmm. So then I went to Rutgers, and I was figuring out what I wanted to do, social work. I ended up doing a BA in social work, a minor in criminology. I was very passionate at one point about politics and race relations, social justice, which I still am, but the expression of it has just transformed into a more spiritual approach versus a systemic and material approach. In my third year of college or something, I took a little semester off to really take care of my mental health because I realized, wow, I'm not okay. I don't recognize myself, and I need to, sit with myself and take care of myself. So I started going to therapy. Before that, I had met a friend in college. He always talked about the universe, the soul. That was my first time, hearing these more abstract concepts outside of religion. So, I wasn't able to fully conceptualize what he was saying at the time, but I just thought it was interesting. So I'd always listen, and then there were little seeds being planted in my mind. And then when I took that time off, when COVID hit, actually in 2020, that's when the seeds finally started sprouting, and I was having the realizations in my heart. I could feel, I'm a soul. I feel what that means. I can feel the connection between me and like the nature and the universe and things like that. So then I started practicing yoga, getting into chakras, and that was when I started venturing away from my Christian upbringing, or just not venturing away from it because it was still very much a part of my practice, but just exploring other things as well. So yeah, yoga took a big place in my heart, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I have to share this, Why don't more people know about this? I didn't really know about it. Not for everything it can do, As a kid, I did yoga at, the YMCA or something, but I never really knew the spiritual benefits of the practice. So around that time, I decided I wanted to get my teacher certification, and that was in Bhakti Yoga. So that was a very beautiful experience for me as well. And after I did that, I went to live in the ashram for a little bit, which was just in New York, Hare Krishna ashram, for a few months. And that was very jarring, I think, for my parents, even though it was just, next door, an hour away. Just because of our religious upbringing, my mom more so. So she just, it's very foreign. They just think of it as you're just worshiping these statues and doing these rituals. What's going on? It's not right, whatever. But I just was like, yeah, well, I'm just going to go do it anyways and, see how it goes. I really wanted to learn more about the philosophy of yoga. So that's why I went there. And yeah, this journey just kept going on from there, kept developing from there. So that's a little bit about me, yeah.
That's beautiful. I have so many questions. You mentioned off camera that your mom is a reverend.
Yes.
So I was going to actually ask you how your parents took it, so maybe you can show us that dimension. Why it's important is because even for me, and I know a few other people that I've met, that the family background is a sort of an obstacle to their spiritual life. So how did your parents handle it?
Yeah, well, I think in my case, it wasn't too difficult because my dad is not super religious or anything. He's more so like, you just kind of do what you want to do.
Oh, okay.
But, And then my mom, she's more like, yeah, we were in church every Sunday, but every vacation Bible school, Bible study. I was in dance ministry. I was in the choir. So I was very heavily into the Christian scene. But I actually liked church. I liked growing up in church and going to church because it really gave me a strong connection with God. And I'm really grateful for that. It was just certain things when I started to open my mind more that didn't resonate with me anymore about the way that I felt. They taught me about who God was, what God is. God is a jealous God, a very masculine, patriarchal figure and then the whole hell and thing and burning forever. It was just like, would God want me to burn forever? I don't know. Just certain things weren't resonating with me. So when I decided I was going to go to the ashram, yeah, they didn't really believe me at first, actually. They kind of just thought I was like, oh, just chatting. I'm not really going to do it. It's like, yeah, I'm moving out today. My bag is packed. And they're like, you're doing it? Like, what do you mean you're going? Like, yeah, I said I was going, so here I go. So they kind of just accepted it, They maybe weren't so happy about it. They were concerned about, where are you going? Who are these people? But in the end, very supportive. And then my time being at the ashram actually really healed my relationship with Christianity. And I feel like I understood Jesus more deeply and, the mission and what Christianity even is all about. So it was really beautiful, really wonderful. And then after I came home, I would say there was maybe a little friction with wanting to maintain my practices while being in my home. So my mother, I had my little altar and my pictures of Krishna. It was so nice, such a sweet time. And it lasted for a while. My mom, she allowed me to kind of do my own thing for a while. But it got to a point where she was like, I don't want you chanting around the house. I don't want you having an altar in your room. None of that stuff is allowed in my house. So during that time, it was a little bit of friction and frustration of you're suppressing me. Why can't I just be myself? You have your rituals in Christianity. Every Sunday you do the same thing, same service. That's a ritual. So, yeah, I mean, it was a bit rough there for a little bit, but I just moved out. Then I went to Bali, so I was more liberated to do my own things there as well. And that's when I started getting into shamanism, which was also very jarring for her, even more jarring than the Hare Krishna path. So again, she kind of just had accepted it though, because at that point I already moved to the ashram. Okay, I've already left the country. I'm doing my own thing. So she kind of just maintains her beliefs of like, remember Jesus every now and then, which is cool. I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. I still love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Krishna, Buddha. It's cool. I appreciate all of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's so crazy how your story is almost copy-paste of mine. It's so crazy, Asha, because exactly the same thing happened. When I got into Hinduism, I understood Christ better. I understood the Bible better. Everything makes more sense. So every time, my God, I meet people and they're like, oh, so you left Jesus. I'm like, no, why are you calling Jesus? Because he's Jesus. Like, what do you mean? And my mom at some point was like, you can't chant anymore. We had really big fights about it. My deities and everything. So it was, I literally, as you're speaking, I'm just going back to how the fights used to be. They were crazy, but eventually she came around, and I'm actually grateful for that. I think if yours hasn't come around, she'll come around eventually. Because at some point I was like, Mom, what do you prefer? If I have mental health issues, if I'm unhappy or angry, or do you prefer me happy? And don't you prefer this version of me? I don't know whether that changed her mind, but yeah. So I want you to say, before I go to shamanism, when you learn the philosophy from the ashram, can you see a convergence between now Christianity, which I also respect and I loved, and the teachings of Christ, to be clear, teachings of Christ. Can you see a convergence to maybe help someone who's like in between, like not sure whether it's one or the other? Because most people think it's one or the other.
Well, I think that both Krishna and Christ are symbols of devotion, symbols of sweetness, of compassion and love and service, So to me, like, maybe people, they think about Christianity as like, well, this is the thing. There's actually this book called Christ and Krishna, which I didn't actually read that much of, but in the beginning of what I read is that they said in the Bible, it never said that Christ was the only Son of God. It just said that Jesus is the Son of God, but not the only one. And so in my mind, there's just space for everyone. I think it's not like we have to be on one side or the other, or black and white, but it's like you have to come out of that mindset that Christianity brings you in, of like, this is evil and this is wrong, to connect with other expressions of God. And I think it's just about really understanding who God is, what God is, because when you understand that, then you can easily feel that it's okay to understand all these different expressions, whether that's in Buddhism, Christianity, or Hinduism. So, yeah.
Who is God to you? Or what is God to you?
Who is God and what is God? Oh, God, I don't know. It's like such a loaded question,
Yeah, it is loaded. just what comes off the top of your mind.
I think God is the foundation of existence. God is what allows everything to exist. God is source. Without God, nothing would exist. So when I think about it as, God is the foundation of existence, there's a nice story. They say, like, God is like the rain. So, if you want to grow mangoes and you plant oranges, God will rain and help you in whatever your pursuit is and trying to do. But if you grow oranges because you planted orange seeds, you cannot be mad that you didn't get mangoes. So it's like God is just here to assist us. The energy is here to assist us in whatever our pursuits are, whether your pursuits are of good intentions or your pursuits are of bad intentions. God is not good or bad. God is just God. I feel like a neutral energy. So kind of, that
makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's delve into shamanism. So you leave home and you go to Bali, or you become a shaman first and then you go to Bali. What does shamanism entail?
Yeah, so I wouldn't call myself a shaman, but I'm just interested in the shamanic path and what it's about. So for me, my introduction into it was through like a lot of shamanic journeying. So that's basically, they take you into the spirit realm with some drumming, and you go into yourself, really. You go into your heart space, and then from there you can go below, under, which is usually to connect with like animal spirits and things like this, or you can go up to connect with like angels and things. And
stuff like that. So I remember I was doing this one particular meditation, actually, and I was focusing on my womb space. And as I was entering my womb, I started to see these blue hands, and they were sending this blue and white energy swirling kind of like a hurricane, it looked like. And then I started to see these faces of women and children screaming and crying and agony and pain. And I just knew that these were like ancestral spirits and things that were stored in my womb, like the energy of all the trauma from lineage. And I just remember crying so much. And after I cried and cried and cried, I came to this space of gratitude for like, wow, the life I'm able to have now, who I am, the opportunities, and, you know, what I'm supposed to do with it. And so after I had that experience, I was just like, wow, that was so profound. Like, that was so crazy and surreal. And I just wanted to learn more. And so I'm like, there's many paths of shamanism and all across different countries and cultures. So I really didn't know where to begin. You know, how can I get more into this? Because I just resonated with everything has a spirit, everything is an energy, and how deeply connected we are to nature, and that is, nature is a spirituality within itself. So I feel that's kind of what shamanism is about. So yeah, I just wanted to learn more about it, and I was like, what path would I even begin to look into? And that's actually when ayahuasca started coming to me in like visions. And I didn't know it was her until many, many months later, like maybe 3 or 4 months later, after we had many journeys together in the spirit realm. But yeah, I was actually looking for any other path besides plant medicine because I had these reservations. I was always a little bit afraid of anything I perceived as an intense psychedelic kind of experience. I wasn't really into that kind of thing. So actually the first time when I started doing more like shamanic journeying things, she had come to me as a gray snake. She first showed up. And I remember I was journeying through this flower, peeling back the petals, and there was this kind of smoke emanating. So when I peeled the petal back, it was like the snake. So I was like, a snake? I grabbed the snake, and I'm like taking it to the center of the flower. I think I have to like slay it because I'm like, what is this doing here? But then I remember I like let the snake go, and then it started to dance, and then I was mimicking her movements, and we started dancing together. And then at the end of it, she came on to me and like slithered around my neck and came up like this over my head as like an ally. And so that was the first time I connected with her. I didn't know it was her at the time. I just knew, okay, like I have a snake ally now. We went on many more journeys together through the water, a lot of different things. And then there was this one time she appeared as a grandma, and she gave me this cup. It had this black liquid in it. I drank it, and I started throwing up, and I threw up like 2 worms in the vision, and I just took that as, okay, purging, like I need to do some purging. This is an elder spirit. And then about a month later, I connected with her again. Another plant medicine spirit actually came to me and was like telling me, basically summoning me to like the medicine path, saying that I'm ready. I need to, you know, go to Peru or like connect with this medicine. And I'm like, who are you though? And she was like, I had a flashback of all the visions that I had, and I'm like, that was you? Oh my gosh, like I can't believe it. And then everything made sense, you know. The black cup, that's ayahuasca, but at the time I didn't, you know, make those connections because I wasn't trying to do ayahuasca. But then, yeah, that was in January of 2025. Well, yeah, that was just last year. Wow. Oh my gosh, yeah. January 2025. So I went to Costa Rica, actually, and I did ayahuasca, sat in ceremony with her, and that was a very sweet experience. So from that experience, many, many things came, many downloads and information, realizations, and healing. But yeah, basically, if I wanted to pursue like the plant medicine path more deeply, I would be served greatly and also be of good service in that area. So yeah, I'm still interested, I think. And then it was crazy because I was so set on going to Peru after I came from Bali because I'm like, I need to go on this plant medicine journey. I want to do an apprenticeship, do. And then, you know, it never happens how you think it's going to happen. I ended up in Kenya, and then my 3rd week in Kenya, I have the opportunity to co-facilitate ayahuasca retreats. I'm like, oh, like, wow, hello. You know, she's like, don't forget about me. Remember, you know, I'm still here. So that was also a nice experience. And I think, yeah, we'll still get around to doing that more deeply. So, yeah.
So you're now more open to plant medicine
absolutely.
than you were.
I think
if I were to choose a shamanic path, it would be like something like that in plant medicine. Maybe, I don't know if it's going to be working with ayahuasca. Iboga is something that has come up recently for me as well, working with potentially. So, yeah, there's so much to still explore, you know.
I had so many goosebumps as you were giving that story. I'm like, wow, okay, that is so cool. But I feel when that happens is a presence around. I don't know if you can't feel it, but I can. And I'm like, okay, you need to direct me. What do you want me to ask? Oh my God, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And what is the question you want me to ask? Another question. The travels. Gosh. When you say she, is it because you had seen her as the grandma? How do you identify to say she? Like a plant is a she?
Yeah, I think it was because I saw her as a grandma. Like, and even when I felt the snake energy constantly, because we had many journeys together, it was always just a feminine feeling. But even then, when I was speaking with the shaman about, more about the spirit of ayahuasca, they refer to her as a she, like
Really?
Mama Aya, they say. So, yeah, she's very much like a motherly, a grandmotherly spirit. Feminine, nurturing spirit. Actually, I had a very sweet time with her when I sat with the medicine. I just felt like her daughter, and she was just like, you deserve a love that is easy, that is gentle, that is caring. And the biggest lesson I think that I learned from doing the medicine was that things don't have to be hard to be valid. Things don't have to be such a struggle for you to deserve them or for you to be worthy of them. You're allowed to receive with ease and softness. And it was very healing for me, because at the beginning of my trip, I guess I can call it that, but experience, I drank the medicine. I wasn't feeling anything so intense, how you hear about certain people's experiences. So I kind of went into this spiral of like, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on? And I remember before I took the medicine, I was telling the apprentice, I'm ready to be ripped apart. If I have to be ripped apart to be transformed, bring it on. And he was like, well, be careful what you wish for. Maybe you don't have to be ripped apart. Maybe you just be made whole. And I was like, oh, that's so much nicer. I really like that. And that's really what it was. I just felt like I was made whole. It was very loving, and yeah, she just came in. I didn't have so much visual experiences, just a little bit. But for me, it was more this mental clarity, a little bit of purging. But I remember I was just in there writing, which I guess isn't very common because it was very dark. You can't really see, but it didn't stop me. I needed to write these things down that I was coming into knowing. It was interesting.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Every time you people share these things, I'm like, I want to do them.
Yeah.
I want to do them, but I can't. So what, did you know the purpose of your life? Maybe did you get like a download about it? And have you seen your past lives? And then tell me how you started seeing entities.
Okay. I don't really know my life purpose still. A long time ago, maybe around 2020, probably, or maybe 2018. I don't really remember. But I had this one vision. It was literally like 2 seconds. And I just saw myself sitting in a circle, and I just knew I was facilitating some kind of healing experience. And It was, I think it was all women. And it actually also, I felt like was in Africa. But, And I just had that. That was like the first, I feel, vision I had. And I was just like, okay, cool. And then I was going to school for like social work, helping people and, wanting to empower people. That's always been like a core part of my mission. It's just always changed the expression of it. So, I started out obviously in the political scene. Then I transformed into a more like spiritual approach, working with the body as well. So I was doing yoga and assisted stretching. And then that expression kind of also transformed into, and I still like yoga, but at this point in my life, I feel more connected to the meditative aspects of the practice versus the asana and doing like the movements and things. Then that expression transformed, I realized I was like, oh, I want to do psychic things. Like, that's fun to me. And so basically, I just do what I think is fun at the time. So I thought yoga was fun for a while. I'm doing yoga. That's fun. Okay, now I'm into the more psychic thing. This is super fun. I'm really liking it. So that's kind of where I'm at now, but I'm also transitioning out of that now, which is why I resonate so much with the snake energy, because I feel like I've really lived so many lives and I've died.
And shedding. It sheds the skin.
And I just move to the next thing. But what I realized, I'm not leaving those parts of myself behind. It's just integrated in a new way, in a different expression as I keep moving forward. So at this point in my life, you know, I use my psychic gifts to help people who are in the middle of like death and rebirth. I resonate a lot with the energy of the medicine of death, understanding the spirit of death, the energy of it, outside of maybe the more Western approach, as it's seen with such heaviness, such grief as the end, and, you know, all this uncertainty and fear around it. Whereas now it's just like a transition. There really is no end. So death or the loss of the physical body isn't even also a loss. It's just also transforming into different material and going back into the cycle. So, yeah, I really help people now who are in the middle of identity deaths and like leaving old parts of themselves behind, coming into their newer, their next level. So that's how I use my snake medicine and things and my gifts when I do readings and energy healing to see like where people's energetic blockages are, what's being stored in their chakras, what's in their auric field, the limiting beliefs. Is it coming from them or is it ancestral and things like this? And I just help expand their awareness and their perception of what's currently happening so that they have more power and autonomy in like making the choices that will take them where they want to go. And then, yeah, I just use that also to connect with their spirit team. Sometimes when I'm doing readings, people's past loved ones will come in, spirit guides will come in that want to give messages to them. So then I just tell them what they want to say, you know? It's very fun for me, but also very powerful work, I feel. So that's like a good combination. If something is fun and also impactful, then that's just what I do. So now, my time in Kenya, a lot has been about, you know, the somatic experience and the physical body. And my time in Bali was so much about energy and, like, you know, these more higher chakras. So it was really important for me to come and ground because I was getting, like, you know, carried away. I was, like, really ungrounded and, like, just woo. So it was good to come to Kenya and have such a physical experience about the body, about the land, and even dance. I think that's really something I want to expand more into as dancing, but dancing and channeling, because I had a really wonderful experience at Kasima Festival. I was dancing and I entered this trance state where I was like channeling so many different spirits and energies in my movements and just dancing. And as I was doing that, I could feel myself releasing ancestral trauma and things that I never even knew, you know, happened that I could see and that I could feel while I was dancing. I'm like, wow, you know, so much of my life or my healing journey I've spent analyzing. I love to analyze things, you know. So when I was dancing and healing, it showed me you don't have to analyze everything. You don't have to know or give words to everything to release it or to heal it or to understand it. So I really want to expand more into that direction. I feel that's what I'm now going to Bali to do more of. So in my past lives that I am aware of, I have been like a Mongolian shaman woman in one life. I've also been like what are those things called? A calligrapher in China as a woman. I've been a dragon, mermaid. Those are ones that I've seen personally. So yeah, all those things influence my path now. It's why I'm drawn to shamanism now. It's why I'm drawn to medicine and holistic healing and that path. So yeah, those things definitely play a part. And it was really just through when you were doing a certain amount of healing work that my channels opened up. Because, you know, when we're so clogged with our dense experiences, it's really hard to then perceive the subtle information that's always coming in. So yeah, I did a lot of, in Bali, my time was a lot about womb healing. I mean, I also had bipolar 2, depression, anxiety. I was binge eating. So there was a lot going on before I left home. And that's why I left home and went to Asia. So Bali really allowed me, and meditation especially, I was volunteering with these Thai Buddhist monks every day for about a month and a half, learning a lot about meditation, which was good from their perspective versus the Western perspective, which it can kind of make you feel it's such a stern thing. You know, I had to sit still with my spine straight and not move. But when I got over there and they were telling me, you know, the true spirit of meditation is about relaxation. Actually, you need to ease your way in, be like a child. And it's really much easier to get into that meditative state when you just relax. Yeah, when you relax. So their main thing is like relaxation is the key. So yeah, at that point I was meditating for 4 hours a day, like 2 hours, then I would take a break, then go back for another 2 hours. And I feel that was such a potent turning point in like my mental health, because for me in my journey, when I first was like, you know, going to all these therapists and, you know, they were giving me different diagnoses and whatnot, telling me to take pills. I just was like, I'm not doing that. You know, I don't feel like I need to do that. But the only reason I was able to feel like that was because I had yoga. And I realized, oh, well, I can feel like this. It's possible because I feel it right now. So I just need to understand how I can feel like that all the time, or like more, you know? If I hadn't had that, then maybe I would have, you know, felt like I needed to take medicine or things like that. And I'm not, you know, poo-pooing that at all. It's very helpful, you know, if people resonate with that. But I also feel like we have so much power within ourselves to heal ourselves so naturally. So, yeah, my site came online before I went to Bali. That was probably the first. Well, actually, my gifts have been there, but I didn't know how to use them. And that's also a trap I think people get stuck in when they think they're sick or they think they're unwell. It's actually, most of the time, they just don't know about their psychic abilities and gifts they have. So all the voices and things that I was hearing, energy I was feeling that wasn't mine, that was actually spirits, you know, having these thoughts in my voice that I was perceiving as me, it wasn't me. So I understood those things when I understood my gifts, and that's why I can just feel well and healthy now, because I can discern what is mine and what is not mine.
Let me just interrupt you. So is that period the same period you were going through the mental health issues? Because I feel like if you went to, which you mentioned a bit, if you went to they take you to a psych ward and maybe call you a schizo.
Yeah, they didn't call me schizophrenic, but like for me it was bipolar, like the anxiety and the depression, all those different things that I was feeling. But yeah, a lot of people who are schizophrenic, it's like they just have access to more realms and information and things, and they could see things and hear and feel things that other people can't see or perceive with their physical senses, which is why they're perceived as being sick and unwell. But if you go to other countries and other cultures, those people are medicine men and women. Yeah. So it's like, you know, it's just that's why getting out of the country was also very helpful for me, and understanding myself in a different way to understand what I was going through, even through many different perspectives of meditation and identifying, you know, how you identify with your thoughts or your emotions, and you have so many choices. So yeah. But when my gifts started coming online, a lot of it was visual. By clairvoyance first came, and a lot of people, they can see things with their 2 eyes, but I mostly see things just with my third eye. Only very rarely, like twice, have I seen entities with my 2 eyes. But yeah, I always see things with my first eye, and I would always have visions, and I would see, you know, different animals, guides, dragons, mermaids, snakes, beings.
Doing what?
Yeah, I mean, quick story. So the first, like, major journey that I first had was with this blue dragon. His name was Ed, and basically I had started the shamanic journey in a flower in my heart, and then the center of the flower turned into water. I went underneath into the water, swimming, and then this beautiful blue dragon comes next to me, and we're swimming together, and he's like, yeah, I'm taking you to see the master. I'm like, the master? I thought I was going to be doing my training with you. And he's like, no. So then there's this cave that appears underwater, and we swim through the cave, and then the cave opened up. There were like thousands of dragons. It was crazy. Wow. I was like, Ed, what is this place? He's like, this is your home. This is your family. And that's when I started to have remembrances of this life that I was living as this water dragon.
he took me to see the master dragon, which was this big black dragon with red eyes. And yeah, we had a little chat, and then after that, I just left the cave and then came back to, my normal consciousness. But yeah, a lot of the journeys and experiences that I go on are to remember things, are to understand things deeper that are resonant to my life at that point. So at that point in Bali, which is a very watery energy place, a place with heavy dragon energy, it really connected me back to that aspect of myself. The medicine of a dragon is similar to that of a snake. Just like I look at them as cousins, So before I went to Bali, I was very heavily connected with snake energy, dragon energy just a little bit, but going there really strengthened my connection to dragons, and then all that medicine of transformation, of the throat activation as well, because the dragon to me is just like a big channel, like a big throat. So it's like, that fire, and also the communication and the energy of wisdom and what I am being asked to bring forth. I felt those things. Other times, another quick story I can tell you, when I was doing some womb healing, I had to exorcise like this sexual demon that was actually plaguing the women of my lineage, through rape, things like these, And so I had went into the spirit realm, and I met another dragon, a sea dragon. He's green. His name is Cleodius. And so we basically went on this journey together, and I located this demon who was plaguing our family line, the women, siphoning our energy sexually. And I found him, I brought him back, and there were 6 mermaids actually who were like ancestral spirits. And I put the demon in the center, and I was like, hey, here he is. What do you guys want to do? And they were angry, of course, because, you've been stealing from us and all these things. And so at first, we're all cursing him out, boom, boom, boom. But then I'm like, this isn't working. And even when we were doing that, it was making him stronger, because they feed on that type of energy. So I'm like, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? And I'm like, we have to call our power back. So then I tell everyone, okay, we need to call our power back. And as we do that, I can see all this energy leaving this entity. And as it was getting smaller and smaller, shrinking down to its true form, which was just like a little worm, just pathetic parasite. And then we're all empowered and glowing, because we've called our power back. And so then we all put our tridents in the center, and we basically, boom, send him back to the light of unconditional love, whatever, for him to be transmuted. And then after that experience, though, we all went into my womb, and there was this waterfall. And behind the waterfall was this gate, and there was a keyhole. One of the mermaids came to me and gave me the key, and when I opened the door, I saw these glowing orbs, and the orbs were voices, our voices that had been stolen or locked away and suppressed. And it was wow, when I let all the voices out into my womb space, the feeling and the energy that I got and felt, it was this total liberation. It was wow. And then we all just celebrated, in the waterfall, having a good time. But yeah, so when I work with guides and entities and things like that, that's the kind of things that I do for myself, and then with other people as well. Different dragons can show up, and sometimes they just tell me, hey, this person can work with me in this way to help clear, this block. So I just tell them, hey, you can work with this dragon by doing this X, Y, and Z, and that's what you can do. Sometimes when I'm doing energy healing. So besides my clairvoyance, I also use clairaudience, which is hearing. That's my strongest sense. And I have clairsentience, which is feeling. So there's 2. You can feel things on an emotional level, but also physically, how you get the chills and things like that.
I'm clairsentient.
Yeah. Yeah. And then claircognizance, which is just knowing. So I just use all those things. So when I'm working with someone, I'm doing readings, or if I do an aura reading, I basically go into my mind's eye. I visualize that person, and as I do that, I can start to see the colors that are around their aura, and then I can ask, and I just tune in, because energy is just an access point, So if I see someone and they have yellow, I connect to the yellow, and then I ask questions. Okay, what does this mean? And then the information comes in. I can connect with their spirit team if I want to ask more clarifying questions on, what is this related to, or do you have any guidance or advice for them? And it just comes in very naturally. I hear the information mostly, I see it, and then I just channel it, write it down, share it with them. If I'm doing energy healing, Sometimes, like, if someone has a block in their throat chakra, for example, we can go in, and as I take them through this meditative process, it's kind of like I'm in the realm with them. So maybe they have their own visuals and things going on, and then I am also interpreting the information in my own way and seeing things in my own symbolism. So for one girl, it was like she had this black, gooey tar, like, kind of in her throat chakra. And I was sharing that information with her afterwards, and she was like, yeah, thank you for giving me those words, because that's exactly what it felt like. And so in order to, like, remove these things, it sounds like, I don't know if it sounds silly, but it's very much a process of imagination as much as it is real. Imagination is reality. And so when I'm seeing people's energy and things and how it's being shown to me, it can be shown as like rope that you need to just unwrap around someone. It can be shown as like a pot. I've seen one time just like boiling over, and someone just keeps their hand over, and it's like, girl, express yourself, like, let the lid out. There's so much that wants to come out, so I just take the lid off, and then you just see the steam coming out. But that is how it looks to me, but there's a physical and energetic release that's actually happening in response to taking it out, and they could feel that. And they're like, wow, I feel so much lighter after. Wow, I really feel like something has shifted. So, yeah, it's a very creative, artistic kind of experience in that way. And, yeah, it's still growing. I just really began doing this kind of work last year. The beginning of last year, so I'm still in the beginning of my journey.
You sound like a master. And what kinds of people come to you? Because I bet the people who will be watching this will be like, I wonder whether I'm a candidate, the right candidate for her.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the most people who resonate with me are people who are in that in-between stage. They are feeling like they're not resonating with who they are anymore, or certain their environments or patterns, but they feel stuck, like they don't really know how to get out of it. They don't really know what to do to move forward. They're not really having clarity or full understanding of why they're even stuck or why they feel the things that they do. So those are the kind of people that come to me, the people who know they're ready to shift, know they're ready to move forward, but they just need help bridging that gap. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful, because I have been stuck. I wish you came earlier, Asha. But I think we're going to look into that. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned death, which is also a transition. Are you a medium?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a bit about that, because it's frowned upon. Obviously, people just think it's either black and white.
Yeah.
If you see dead people. So tell us about mediumship.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, every human being is a medium, because a medium is about being a bridge, which is between the higher realms and like the earthly realms, the material world, and the spiritual world. So we all have the capabilities to open ourselves up to that way of perceiving information. And so I just look at a medium as a channel. I can channel information from spirits. I can see spirit, hear spirit, feel spirit, but also not just like spirits as entities, but trees, the water, the wind, the sun, everything we can channel information from and be connected to. So that's really, to me, what it is to be a medium. And also, another thing is that a lot of times when people are having these mental illnesses, it's because they're channeling information that's not theirs, or they're feeling things and energies that aren't theirs, but they don't know they're not theirs, so they just take it all on and think that, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm that. But no, actually, that's just like another spirit that resonates with something you're going through. And as a medium, what we can do is release spirits from like the things that they're bound in, and send them back to the light to be transmuted, for that energy to be transmuted. And that also releases that energy from us. So, yeah, I think that's like being a medium is just being able to connect and perceive subtle information and just information from different realms. So that's kind of how it shows up for me. People kind of look at me odd. I don't tell people that much that I'm a medium, especially because I just know once you hear, oh, you're talking to spirits, it's like, yeah, like, get that away from me. That's not right. That's demonic. But I don't see it that way at all. I see it as a very natural expression of our potential, of what we're here to do. Yeah.
Have you worked with people with mental health issues? Because there's a way you decode it that is very, I haven't had that before. There's a way you just decode it. Are those people that you can also help?
Yeah, I think like I'm not, I don't have a PhD or anything in psychology, but just from my own experiences and how I've been able to transmute my mental illness problems and just my perspective, I think a lot of people that come to me resonate with that. They struggle with things like depression. They feel like they don't want to take medicine. A lot of people have asked me like, hey, even I want to come off my meds, and like, what do you like kind of think about that, and da-da-da-da-da. And so I just give them my perspective because I'm not a doctor, but I just let people know, hey, this is what I did. It works for me. Looking into lineage healing, understanding your childhood trauma more deeply, inner child healing, inner teen healing. Like, these are such powerful healing practices that are related to why a lot of people are mentally ill, because of the things you went through in your childhood that are stuck in your body. It's very normal. And so it's funny to me when people demonize like energetic work, because we are energy, the body's energy, and all of our experiences are energy that are stored. So I see nothing wrong with looking at it, being able to see it. That's our power. That's what makes us powerful and able to help ourselves and then heal ourselves instead of funding these multi-millionaire medical companies that are just exploiting us, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Clock it. Yeah.
I love that. We're going to be the next revolution. They will come for us. Until then, though, let us talk about money.
Yeah.
How are you able to... My question was, how are you going to Bali and Peru? Can she take me with her? How do you sustain that? Yeah, how do you sustain that? And also obviously you make money from somewhere. Please help us. I love how you decode everything. So help spiritual people decode money, because it feels like it's either material life or spiritual life. You can't have both, or the balance has become very difficult for some, not everyone. So
well, the first time I went to Bali, I just saved up some money, not that much money, and I had a lot of support from my community as well, who were really supportive of what I wanted to do, why I wanted to go. And so I was living off that in Bali for some time. I sold my car. I wasn't working while I was in Bali, so that was a very different experience. I came back home because I needed to reset myself. But my time in Kenya this far, I've been living off of what I make from my business, doing readings and energy healings and things. And I think a really big part of that, shout out to my friend, she created this really amazing hypnosis meditation. And I was listening to that every day for 21 days to release money blockages.
Wow.
A lot of reasons why spiritual people, they don't make as much money as they could is because they have all of this resistance, which a lot of time isn't even their own. Besides the propaganda of like, oh, spiritual people shouldn't be making money. A lot of it is just, survival mentality and things that are so deeply ingrained into our lineages. I listened to the meditation and that cleared so much energy. It's crazy. When I first started the meditation, she kind of takes you into this room where you have a fire and you're just like burning all the subconscious blocks and things that are, in your body. And as I kept doing it throughout the days, the room, it was first completely black. It started getting brighter and brighter and brighter. By the end of it, it was just like completely lit up. I could see everything that was there, all like my guides who were supporting me, riches, like piles of gold, things like this. And it was like, yeah, these things really work. And then after that, I started receiving money with such ease and such consistency.
Really?
Like it was
really
just like that. Like it was just a channel that was clogged up that just needed to be open. And once I cleared that channel, I was receiving money, clients, opportunities, just like that. So it's really just about being open. A lot of people aren't open because they reject money. They think it's not spiritual, but everything is spiritual. Everything is energy. So there's really no separation between, oh, this is spiritual, this is material. And when we allow ourselves to know that we are worthy of receiving. We are worthy of receiving and being able to take care of ourselves in a physical sense, because it's information and everything should be in exchange is the way I feel about it. And it was very hard for me, and it's very hard for a lot of spiritual people or healers, whatever you want to call it, to know their worth and to know that it's okay to receive for what you're giving. It doesn't have to be, I need nothing, I don't need anything. Yes, you do, because you're still a human and you're still a part of the society and things that are going on. And it's okay to take care of yourself and to receive and be able to maintain and sustain yourself. So yeah, I went through the whole process of undercharging, you know, like, oh, I'll just do this for so little money, like $30, like like $20, you know, whatever. But you just get to a point where it's like of such friction where you're like, I can't keep self-sacrificing and betraying myself in that way, because it's really a form of betrayal. So yeah, I just had to heal and work on those things and understand that money isn't the enemy. Money is a tool. Money is here to help. Money is my friend, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different things and ways to reframe the relationship with money. And also understanding that this is what I always think, nothing in and of itself is a problem. It is only the misuse of said thing that creates problems. So there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with technology, sex, power, right? Nothing wrong with those things. But if you start to misuse them, sure, you can create problems. But in and of itself, it's okay. It's fine. So, yeah.
Awesome. See, you have a gift. Cool. Is there anything else you'd love to maybe mention or add before we call this an episode?
You know, actually, my time in Kenya, I would really love to share about. It was a very heart-centered time, which I knew was going to be about my heart center before I came out here. But, you know, even as we were speaking about the energy of Jesus and Christ consciousness, I feel that's something I felt very strongly while I was here, just through the lessons and the challenges that I was learning. And I always felt heart-opening. You know how we kind of talk about in the spiritual community, opening your heart, like it's a flower blooming. It wasn't like that at all. It was like trying to open up a rusty fly trap. Like, that's what it felt like. I was being pried open, and it was painful and challenging and disorienting in so many ways, but expanding, you know, and opening. And I learned so much about what it is to be human and to be whole, and how much forgiveness and love and acceptance is about that, is tied into that. So much of my time in Kenya has been about learning how to really live life. And even when you were asking about, how am I living and traveling and sustaining myself, it's because I've now learned what life is really about, how much was excess, how many things I didn't even need that were material, that I was just wasting my money on. Food, like appliances, just household things, just collecting items. But it's like, why? And when I came out here and living in Kilifi, which is a much more like obviously rural-ish kind of area, connecting back to the simplicity and connecting to the land and letting go, you know, the energy of the 9 year, the snake year, letting go of so many things. It's like when you realize what you really need or what really fulfills you and sustains you, then it's much easier to sustain yourself for much longer materially when you just have less. So that's been a lot of my time here in Kenya. Just waking up in the morning, making a juice, relaxing, going into your meditation for the day, you know, cooking your food with love and intention and taking your time. And Kilifi is such an interesting place because it feels like there's no time there at all. So it's like, wow, I would feel so odd, you know, everyone's just doing their own thing throughout the day, but it's like just chilling. That's what it feels like. You're just chilling all day long. It's like, is this okay? Like, what's going on? You know, my friend is like, there's only 2 times a day here, daytime and nighttime. Don't ask me what time it is and what time we're doing this. And it was such an adjustment, you know, having to come out of, I'm a Virgo, you know, I'm like all about the time, the structure, the. But then in Kilifi, it's like, wow, I feel so connected to the energy of life itself, you know, time, but not as hours, just as the energy that allows life to change and move and hold something. So I don't know, Anyways, long story short, the challenges and the fire that I felt like I was going through out here, what it led me to was this huge expansion of my heart, of compassion for myself and for others. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I want to remember Kenya as a place that is sweet. You know, the energy of the land is very sweet, is very potent, is very nurturing. But at the same time, it's so intense, and it can feel like it's just burning you up because of the trials and things that you go through. So that's what I mean when I have mentioned about understanding humanity and humanness as a whole. And everything is just a contradiction, because how can things feel so sweet but at the same time like be so harsh? And then how can I be so like feel so angry, but then also feel so much love. And like, how can I hold space for all of that? And like, that's really what it's about. So I want to remember my time in Kenya as that in a pleasant way, because it can very much feel like, oh my God, this was so heavy. And like, oh, I just feel this weight. But at the same time, I feel so light now.
Yeah.
So I'm moving forward now with that.
I hope you come back.
Yeah.
You better come back.
Yeah.
We will be sweeter next time. But I completely, in fact, you have such a gift. Do you do poetry?
Yeah, I was doing poetry circles out here, actually, in Kilifi.
Yeah, I mean, you better be doing poetry because of how you articulate things, your brain, just how it works. I just follow. I need to read your poetry. I'd love to come to your poetry sessions because
awesome.
I feel so good. Language, you have the upper with language and your throat chakra.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And also, let me just point this out, how you grow into, there's a way you grow into the thing that you do. And I'm like, no, she's not 26. She's like this very mature woman who's done this a million times. That's why I asked you about the past life, because I'm like, you grow into it and become this big, beautiful entity, and that's beautiful. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, actually, for the opportunity. I'm really glad that I came and said yes, because I feel that's a big part of 2026, saying yes to the opportunities that life is presenting you. So, yeah, thank you for the space to share and to connect. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming. It's only now that you're talking that I realize maybe when we had planned wasn't the right time. Mm-hmm. And Asha, you don't know how much I beat myself up over it. I was like, why didn't I text her? Why didn't I check the dates? Remember, I was so sad about it. Then you just popped up. Yeah. And now I realize, no, this is the right time. Mm-hmm. And I feel it in my heart. I can feel it in my heart right now. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for reaching out. Yeah. I've loved having you. Yeah. You're my first guest in 2026. Imagine how much good vibes you've brought me. Yay. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And the viewers of Beauty Lies Beyond podcast, thank you so much for being with us the whole of last year. I truly do appreciate you. Thank you for staying with us even now, and I hope that we will still be together for 2026. This is very good vibes. I have a very good feeling about this. So thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you for watching me and Asha today. Happy 2026, and we hope to see you on the next episode. Until then, stay blessed and goodbye.